In this video, I'm gonna break down 3 outright lies that get told around Amazon FBA so you can avoid falling into these traps. And even if you're looking to start another type of online business, these same things totally apply, so be careful of them either way. When I was first getting started with e-commerce and online business, I definitely had to learn a lot of things the hard way. So my goal with this video is that by the time you're finished watching, that you can see these pitfalls, see these traps, and look out for them so that you don't have to fall into them yourself. So let's just jump into these 3 traps. Well, that doesn't sound right. Let's jump into learning how to avoid jumping into these 3 traps. Okay, so myth number 1. This one is super common and leads to a ton of questions. So let's just completely debunk this right here and right now. And this myth is that it doesn't take much money to get started on Amazon FBA. The business model that I'm talking about in this context is private label, starting your own brand, using Amazon as a launch platform to get your product, your own product with your own brand name, your own logo in front of millions and millions of people through Amazon to kickstart your brand. And that model is a great model. That's the model that I mainly talk about and I mainly do, and I have done for many years at this point, and it's great. But it doesn't take no money. It takes money is what I'm trying to say. It does take money. This is not a model that you can start with $0, $100, $500, $1,000. This really takes a pretty significant amount of money. And I typically, when I get asked, how much does it really cost to start an Amazon business? I typically give a pretty wide range because look, on the low end of this range, it is possible, but it's not optimal. It's like, it makes everything a lot more difficult. So let me start at the top end and scare you away. And that would be $10,000. So that is like a great place to be. Now on the lower end of the spectrum, could it be done with $3,000? Yes, but that's like the very low end of what I would even want to say anyone could possibly think to start with. Like really try to shoot for at least like 4 to 6 and preferably have some money on the side for 10. Now, the good thing about this is that even if you have the 10, it's not that you really need to risk 10 all at once, but having that extra money on the back burner when things are going well. So for example, maybe your first order of your first inventory to sell is say $5,000. But this way, once you sort of know and you get the ball rolling and you see how well things are doing, then you'd be comfortable to say, place your reorder before you get the money back from your first one so you can not run out of stock and things like that. So it's important to have some extra money on the back burner. Now that is not absolutely required. It's just gonna make your life a lot easier because as I just said, you're not gonna have to worry about going out of stock and all of these other problems that come into play and ultimately put your business at more risk compared to if you just had the money to actually throw in and give this a real shot. Now tied in with the fact that it costs money is that you're not gonna get money out of it right away. Cash flow, money in, money out. It's not gonna just start spitting out profits at you in the first month or even the first few months, because if somebody is doing well with this model, they're gonna be rolling any potential profits back into more inventory and more products. So this is not a business model where you invest very little money and get huge returns in a short period of time. This is a business where you invest, still a relatively small amount of money in the scheme of starting what could be potentially a massive business. This is still like incredible to think that for $5,000 or $10,000, you could start something that turns into a 7-figure plus business. That's still insane. But this is not a model where you're gonna put in $3,000 and then immediately have cash in your pocket in no time. This is a longer term play where you have to wait for your inventory to be produced. At the very beginning, you're great if you're breaking even and just gaining momentum and getting your product out there. So this is a longer term thing where you're gonna be rolling everything back in. So anybody that tells you that it takes very, very, very little money to start this, or that it's no risk, or that you'll be profiting right away, that is a flat lie. It's just not what this business model is about. And I don't mean that to sound like I am discouraging this business model. It's just the fact that you're really starting a product brand. And this is a brand that could eventually have employees, eventually go into retail, eventually, sell in multiple countries, and just so many ways that you can scale up this brand. This is not just a super quick little hack thing. And those of you that have been subscribed to the channel for a while know that that is the way that I talk about this. All right, so myth lie number 2. As I get into this, let me first quickly say it makes a huge difference if you smash the like button and leave a comment. It helps feed the YouTube algorithm and hopefully get this video out to more people. So if you can do that on this video and every video of mine of all time, that would be great. And also, of course, subscribe to this channel if you are not already subscribed. Okay, so this second lie has to do with profit margin. And you'll often see all kinds of people that will be showing revenue and never explaining the difference between revenue and profit. These were some of the first videos I ever made on my channel, was making this explicitly clear. So anytime I've ever posted my personal screenshots of my sales or shown screenshots of my students' sales, I'm always saying revenue or sales if I'm talking about revenue or sales. It's a flat out lie, in my opinion, when somebody says, I made $1 million and it's $1 million in revenue, or look, I'm making 30K a month and I just started last month, but it's 30K in revenue. And it's not at all impossible to have no money in your pocket when making 30 grand a month, especially at the beginning. And that's not even necessarily a bad thing. It just ties into point number 1, which is that it's not going to be spitting off profits to put in your pocket right away. So you should be reinvesting in all of that. So anybody that's just saying like, look how much money I made from drop shipping, from Amazon FBA, those ones, I guess in particular, you have to realize that profit margins are the key to actually ending up with money to put in your pocket at the end of the day. So I've broken this down before in this would apply similarly to drop shipping or Amazon FBA, but in the context of Amazon FBA, let's take, for example, you have a product that sells for $30, okay? If you make a sale, that's $30 in revenue. That's not making $30. Maybe your product cost was $8. Maybe the Amazon fees and shipping were another $7. So now we're talking about a 50% margin. That is $15 profit out of 30. There's also going to be advertising and marketing budget. Let's say it costs you $3 on average to get your product shown in front of people to actually make that sale. So there we're left with $12 out of $30, and that $12 is our end profit on $30. So you have to be careful to not just look at revenue numbers. Revenue numbers are important. So it doesn't mean somebody's lying. Like, revenue is a very important indicator of a business. But if you think but if the person is saying I made this much money, then to me that is a flat out lie. And it's just not okay to be using things like I made. The terms like that in the context of revenue, to me, is just not healthy. So anytime that I'm posting revenue numbers, I'm saying this much in sales, this much in revenue. And then people that understand how these businesses work can figure out what that would really typically mean at the end of the day. If we're talking about a 20% end margin, a 25%, that's pretty healthy and typical in these businesses. And some people might claim that it's much, much, much higher, but I've seen a lot of them, and that is a healthy end place to be after everything. All right, so third untruth on this list, and this is definitely an important one, is that you need a course to be successful. This is not true. I'll give my own personal story, and by the way, I'm telling you this as somebody that has created a course and does sell that program and help people. And I'm telling you this because that is not the path that I personally took. And I could easily say like, look, I needed a course and then now you need a course. But that is not the path that I took. And I don't think it's right for everybody. It's just not. I know that when I was getting started, I really didn't have extra money. And the thought of spending a significant amount of money on information definitely like tripped my radar. And it's just like, that's crazy. Like, I mean, I don't even remember considering it. Also, back then, private label was hardly even a term back then. So I don't even know if there really were any courses. I think there was one, but it's the big one that sells for literally thousands and thousands of dollars. So I for sure wasn't going to consider that. But the truth is that I figured it out as I went. And I had a couple people that were figuring it out, and we would talk to each other, and we would just navigate and make mistakes and have problems and have to figure it out. And that has pros and cons. Pro is you don't have to pay money, and you'll figure it out. But the cons are that you might lose money, it might take you longer. So you definitely don't need a course. There's tons of information out there. The benefits of a course are, they basically fall into the fact that they can save you a bunch of time by getting it all in one place, and that they can just speed up your learning curve in a way that helps you avoid major pitfalls where you could lose a bunch of money or point you in the right direction, things like that. But you can get a lot of that stuff from free as well. Just with a course, you put your money on the line, so then you have to prove it to yourself that you're really doing it. And in some cases you get like an added community or stuff like that. There are other benefits, but I just want to debunk the myth that you absolutely need this. Yes, there is absolutely value if that is in alignment with where you're at. For example, for me personally, now if I'm learning a new skill or some new thing in business, I absolutely do personally pay for the course now, because it just helps a lot to pick one expert and just dive in and get it all in one place in a way that resonates with you from somebody that you trust and understand their teaching style. To me, that has a huge value. But back then, I didn't have the luxury of being able to take those shortcuts. So a course is a potential shortcut that you pay for. That doesn't mean that it's needed. It's just, that is what it is. And so clearly the fact that I'm telling you this and saying that you don't need a course is not a subliminal way to tell you to buy my course. You can, you can't, that's fine. The only thing I will say is that if you are going to consider a course, just be really careful, because the worst thing, and a huge reason that I made mine, was that if somebody's going to buy a course, you don't want that person to be spending their money in an area that is not going to benefit them. So if you are considering a course, just, be very careful about who you are deciding to invest with. Okay, so I hope those 3 myths, lies, traps, I hope that was very valuable, and now you can hopefully avoid falling for those things as you progress in your business. So let me know if that was valuable. Please do smash that like button. Drop a comment. Comments are even more important for the YouTube algorithm, helps my video get posted out. So even if you don't have a question or a video recommendation or anything like that, just drop anything in the comments, feed the algorithm. Really, really appreciate that stuff. Also, I'll be at an event in Vancouver, March 15th to 16th. This is eCom Hub Summit. It's gonna be an awesome event for e-commerce and branding and all of that stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna be speaking on a panel and hanging out the whole time. So hopefully I'll get to see some of you guys there. I think it's gonna be a great event. And I do have a discount link in the description if you are looking to go to that event. And also be sure to follow me on Instagram at Matt Loberstein there, at Matt Loberstein pretty much everywhere. And there's also a free Facebook group for entrepreneurs in the description. So check out all that stuff. Click all the things, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Look how clear it is. You can see all of Malibu. Haven't driven this in so long.